Hispanic voters shift heavy to Harris following Biden's exit. A new poll says that 49% of Pennsylvanians plan to vote for, a 10 percentage point jump over earlier this year. Recent polling shows presidential nominee is beating nominee among Pennsylvania voters. A brand new poll by, for example, puts her 4 points ahead. That represents a significant change from when was still at the top of the ticket. However, a poll by provided to prior to its publication reveals that shift may have been particularly significant among Hispanic voters in the state. Whereas 39% of voters in the said they definitely plan to vote for just before his announcement, 49% now say the same about. That checks out, according to 23 of. I think a lot of that shift comes from voters, a college student and movement politics organizer told. It's more exciting to vote for a woman of color. The poll provides a rare look into voter reactions to being replaced by atop the ticket. The poll is already being conducted when made his announcement, and researchers were able to record the immediate change in public opinion. Trump saw a marginal gain in votes in his head-to-head contest against the Democratic nominee. Kathy Whitlock, of Insights warned that it's still too early to make concrete predictions, but said the poll also gives key insights into a growing voting bloc that may impact the results in what is expected to be a close race in Pennsylvania. In the past, it was a virtual tie, and this breathed new blood into this cycle, she said. There are more than 1 million Hispanic voters in Pennsylvania, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, including more than 392,000 registered voters, now 5% of the electorate. The poll projects that 318,000 of those will vote this year, an increase of nearly 70% since won the state in 2016 by roughly 44,000 votes. By comparison, the nation's non-Hispanic voting population increased by less than 40%. While 65% of Hispanics in the nation are of Mexican origin, only 16% of those are. The majority of 63% are of descent, particularly from Puerto Rico. Another 14% are. With a median age of 34 years old, voters are much younger than their median average non-counterparts, who average 52 years old. They also make much less than $49,509 versus $88,712. They are more likely to have children 54% versus 31%, and they are more likely to rent their homes 59% versus 25%. As a result, Whitlock said, they are much more likely to focus on pocketbook issues, such as the cost of living, which 82% of voters called one of the most important, compared to 77% of non-Hispanics. Otherwise, Hispanic voters are mostly in line with non-Hispanics in their concerns over inflation, the price of gas, and the cost of housing. Around 60% of both groups also say their economic situation turned worse over the last year. However, Hispanic voters were much more likely to think the party is better at handling the issue 55% than non-41%. They are also much more optimistic about their own future, with 60% saying they expect their personal situation to get better in the next few years, compared to 48% of non-. The same number of Hispanics and non-32% believe abortion should mostly be banned, but a greater number 58% said they would not vote for a political candidate whose views were at odds with theirs. Hispanic voters are more likely to complain about homelessness and crime in their own neighborhoods and more likely to believe gun control laws would reduce crime. Given their greater likelihood to have children, education is also an important issue. A strong majority of Hispanic voters believe that there are too many undocumented immigrants crossing the border into the country 60%, that they are a drain on U.S. taxpayers 65%, and that securing the border would stop the flow of illegal drugs and sex trafficking 64%. But they are also more likely 63% than non-56% to say the country should provide a pathway to legal status for those who have not committed a serious crime. Hispanic voters around the country lean left and is no different, with 57% registered as, 20% as, and 23% as independent. Similarly, 42% of voters have a favorable opinion of Harris, compared to only 22% who do of. This is even more pronounced in the race for U.S. Senate, where 60% approve of Senator Bob Job's performance and 65% say they plan to vote for him.